Molecular Basis of Inheritance Part 2. In this tutorial, we are going to look at the following concepts: search for genetic material, criteria for genetic material, properties of genetic material, DNA versus RNA. Friedrich Maeser in 1869 was a young Swiss scientist who was interested in studying the chemical composition of cells. What he did was he isolated a new chemical substance from the nucleus of WBC cells, which he obtained from pus-filled bandages from a nearby hospital. He noticed that this substance was a novel substance and did not have the properties of lipids or proteins which were already known at that time. And since he isolated it from the nucleus of the cell, he termed this substance as nuclein. Today we all know this substance as DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. In an attempt to discover the method of destroying bacteria that causes pneumonia, Frederick Griffith, another scientist, experimented with the two strains of a bacterium that causes pneumonia, that is Streptococcus pneumoniae. Out of the two strains he studied, one caused death in the laboratory animals he was studying, that is a mouse, and the other strain of the bacterium Streptococcus pneumoniae was found to be benign or harmless. Now he assumed that this property of being harmful, that is the property of virulence, is dependent on whether or not the bacteria could produce a mucus polysaccharide coat. He saw that the S or the smooth strain bacteria produced this polysaccharide coat and therefore they were virulent, while the R or the rough strain did not produce this polysaccharide coat and hence they were benign. In order to find a vaccine, he did a series of experiments with mice. What he found was when he injected mice with the rough strain bacteria, no harm was done to the mice. They survived. But when he injected it with the S strain, they got very ill and died. Then he went one step further. He heated the S virulent strain and wanted to see what happened. So he killed the S strain and then injected that into the mice. He found that the mice survived. But when he injected the mice with the heat killed S strain along with the live R strain, unexpectedly he found that the mice developed pneumonia and died. He had assumed that the mice would live, but he found that the mice died. So on investigating the bodies of these dead mice, which were given the mixture of R and heat-killed S strain, he found that there was presence of live S strain bacteria, but no R strain bacteria were seen. Therefore, Griffith concluded that something was being transferred from the heat-killed S bacteria to the R bacteria, which were now able to synthesize the polysaccharide coat and became virulent themselves. Not only that, they also passed the virulence to the next generation of R bacteria, making them virulent. Griffith did not know the cause of transformation of the R strain. In the year 1944, Avery, MacLeod and McCarty, three different scientists, did a series of experiments to find the biochemical nature of this transforming principle. What they did was they purified the biochemicals obtained from heat-killed S strain like protein, DNA, RNA, etc., to see which one of these could transform live R strain cells to S strain cells. They discovered that it was the DNA alone from the bacteria which brought about the transformation of the R bacterium. They also discovered that protein digesting enzymes, proteases, and RNA digesting enzymes, RNases, did not affect transformation. So the transforming substance was not a protein or not a RNA. Digestion with DNAs, that is DNA digesting enzyme, however, did inhibit transformation, suggesting that DNA causes transformation. They also concluded that DNA was the hereditary material. But at that time, biologists were not convinced. In 1952, Alfred Hershey and Martha Chase, these two people finally proved that DNA is indeed the genetic material. They infected the bacteria E. coli with T2 bacteriophages. Now a T2 bacteriophage has only two parts, as you can see in the diagram: the inner genetic material and the outer protein coat. When some of these phages were grown in radioactive phosphorus, these had radioactive genetic material. Some were grown in radioactive sulfur, these had radioactive protein coat. As you can see in the diagram, radioactive phages were allowed to attach to E. coli bacteria. Then, as the infection proceeded, the viral coats were removed and the virus particles were separated. Bacteria which was infected with viruses that had radioactive DNA were found to be radioactive, indicating that DNA is the material that passes from from virus to bacteria. Bacteria that were infected with viruses that had radioactive proteins, however, were not radioactive. This indicates that proteins did not enter the bacteria from the viruses. Their results thus helped to convince the scientific community that DNA is therefore the genetic material that is passed on from virus to bacteria. And thus DNA was found to be the prominent genetic material in most organisms. However, some exceptions, viruses where RNA was genetic material were also found. Now, what made DNA eligible to be the genetic material and not other molecules like proteins, carbohydrates, etc.? The answer is important criteria that is shown in this slide. So let us look at the important criteria to be fulfilled for a molecule to act as genetic material. So first point is capable of replicating itself. Second, it should be chemically, structurally stable. Third, it should provide scope for mutation which can lead to evolution. Fourth, it should be capable of expressing itself in the form of Mendelian characters. So these are the criteria to be fulfilled for a material to act as genetic material. Most of the other molecules, if you see, like proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, fail to fulfill the above mentioned criteria and therefore they do not function as genetic material. Now, if you notice, RNA also can fulfill the criteria. Still, DNA is the preferred genetic material over RNA because of the following differences in their properties. So, let us take a look at the differences in the properties of DNA and RNA. First, DNA is structurally more stable than RNA. Second, DNA is chemically more stable than RNA. Third, DNA has a double-stranded structure which provides better ability to rectify errors during replication. Next, DNA can't code directly for protein synthesis and thus depends on RNA. So these are some of the reasons why DNA is preferred over RNA. DNA, therefore, is used for storage of genetic information due to its structural and chemical stability. RNA, on the other hand, was used for expression of genetic information as it could directly code for proteins. Now, there was a recurring question that was bothering everyone as to which molecule, DNA or RNA, started to exist in the world before. A scientist by the name Walter Gilbert in 1986 hypothesized that there was once an RNA world. According to him and his hypothesis, all that we see today has descended from an RNA world. RNA world was a kind of a hypothetical world where RNA performed all the activities which are today performed by DNA and proteins. And he says that DNA later evolved from RNA with chemical modifications which made it more stable. It refers to DNA. Now, there are many scientists who do not agree to his hypothesis, and research is still going on to validate whether RNA world hypothesis is true and whether RNA evolved and was used as genetic material before the DNA. With this, we come to an end of part 2. In this tutorial, we have seen how DNA was discovered and how it came to be known as genetic material. What are the criteria for a biomolecule to be fit as genetic material? And we also saw the differences in the properties of DNA and RNA and how nature selects based on these differences DNA to be the genetic material in most of the organisms. So DNA is preferred over RNA.